Howdy, Ags. Welcome to Season 6 of Aggie Growth Hacks. We cannot tell you enough. Thank you. This has been such a labor of love, but it has been so amazing to meet you, Aggie entrepreneurs, to connect you with one another, and to help you improve your business. I'm your host, Greg Martin, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2001.
And I'm your co-host, Chris Hunter, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 1998.
Well, we've got an amazing story to kick off Season 6 Ags. Jeff Markim and Daniel Totah, Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2012 and 2006, respectively, are the fastest growing Aggie entrepreneurs in 2022. Not only that, they are coming to the Aggie100 list, #1 for the very first time. So how about that, Ags? How about that for motivation to be able to bust in to the Aggie100 list and just start at the top at #1. We sat down with Jeff and Danny on the day that they received their Aggie100 #1 position trophy, and we can't wait to share this interview with y'all.
So pass it back and listen up to Jeff and Danny as they share some really good bull.
Well, welcome back, Ags. We have got a super special episode. Chris and I are just so excited to kick off Season 6 of Aggie Growth Hacks with the #1 fastest growing Aggie-owned company in 2022. So LeasePoint Funding Group, Jeff and Danny, thank you guys so much for joining us. Congratulations on not only your Aggie100 win, but the #1 fastest growing Aggie-owned company in 2022. We are so excited to talk with you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us. Excited to be here.
Well, you guys came down. We're actually recording this on Aggie100 Day, November 4th, where we're going to celebrate you and celebrate your team and celebrate the other Aggie100 winners. Y'all drove down from Austin, so you are fighting the good fight up in Orange Country. But we're all close to A&M. We all love being students here. We all love being former students here. But what do you miss about no longer being a student at A&M?
Oh, I miss the people. I miss the tailgates, the football, the rec. Loved my time here making friends and business ideas at Mays and Wayner High.
So, I think I miss the most the time that you get as a student, just the free time with friends, time to just do nothing. And
Mom and Dad, no, let's study hard.
Right. Exactly. Spend 7 hours in the library working on the books. No, for me, that free time, because, you become a business owner and then you become a father and you get busy in life and you fill that up with just a bunch of stuff that is all great. But college, you have that free time, and I just would urge everybody to enjoy that while you're here, because it doesn't. I feel like for me, you lose that more and more the busier and busier, and the older I get.
And I totally agree with that. I mean, time is our biggest, thing. I mean, we can't get more time, right? But as a student, we get lots of time given to us, whether you use that wisely or not, right?
That's right.
So why don't y'all tell us a little bit about LeasePoint Funding Group and how did it start? What's your entrepreneurial journey? Why did you start it? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. So LeasePoint is a commercial finance brokerage and a direct lender. And really what we do is we provide access to capital for small and medium businesses. Many of them are entrepreneurs like us. And so it's rewarding to see those businesses succeed in helping those people. But really, we're trying to reimagine the lending landscape in 2022, and it's been kind of archaic with a lot of big banks and a lot of slow processes. And so it's exciting to change that and to help people in doing so.
That's right. And for LeasePoint, what we really bring to the marketplace is speed to close, speed to intake the app, and get these customers a solution. And a lot of times that's a yes. We work really hard to make it a yes, but sometimes it's a quick no. And we find that we get a lot of repeat business because we're upfront. We're honest. We lay out exactly what can and can't happen, and we deliver consistently on what we ask and what we tell our customers.
All right. I'm going to hit pause, not really pause, but not very often do you get another banker on this podcast. So I'm a commercial banker as well.
Gotcha.
And so y'all are speaking the language that 2-3 years ago, I think that the future of commercial lending will be an entrepreneur sitting in their jacuzzi and saying, hey, Siri, you know that $2 million building I've been thinking about? And because Siri's connected to their iPhone, connected to their email, connected to their maps, they're going to know exactly what building they're going to talk about. It's like, I want to buy it. And then Siri will talk with the other Siri that's sitting on top of their bank and understand, okay, these are the people that owe you money. These are the people you owe money to. And that's payroll, and that's rent, and that's an owner's draw, that's utilities. And then at that point in time, Siri is going to be able to approve you for a $2 million loan instantaneously while you're sitting in your jacuzzi. Now, it may not necessarily happen quite that fast, but that is the future. And the fact that you guys are actually making that happen, it makes me really happy to be like, hey, my crystal ball was a little bit clear a couple of years ago, but to actually see that and I know what it's like to take a package through underwriting, to be able to sit there and from an entrepreneur standpoint, they just think it's this big black box that, the banker goes and does voodoo or whatever, and then comes back with a yes or a no or 1,000 other questions, which is more likely the case. But the fact that you guys are solving that problem, that you have identified how to help, how to be fast, and how to use technology to support that is super, super amazing. So, okay, enough bank nerd talk. But so tell us about LeasePoint. We have learned in the last 5 seasons of Aggie Growth Hacks how important it is for the owners and the leaders of companies to have very clear values in order to attract the right people, to attract not only employees, but customers, and to repel those that are not good employees and customers. What are y'all's values? How did you come up with them, and how do you actually live that out?
Sure. No, I think it's really important. I'm going to say integrity, which is probably what everybody else says, but honesty and transparency, which is a big thing in lending. That's something that's taught by this university. It's taught by our faith. Danny and I are both Christians, and by my family as well. And so that it's a big part of our company, and kind of a reflection of that. How do we live that out? Is we really try to be relational and not transactional. And hey, let's get them approved, do the loan, and move on. We want to be a resource. Our salespeople, our loan origination team wants to be a resource for other business owners. So it's not just one loan and move on, but hey, is this working for you? Are you happy with it? What else can we do for you?
Right. And just to expound a little bit on that, it's building relationships, but it's building long-term relationships. And it's building that with the company, the individual that we interact with in sales, and then underlying that, the sometimes the vendor-driven sales rep, but also the underlying customer. If it's a doctor, making sure that not only are we taking care of them right away, but can we offer them some advice on best practices? Can we offer them some advice on what they should do next as far as their financing journey and what equipment they're looking at?
That is what is so needed, because entrepreneurs, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a wantrepreneur. So I'm going to ask Chris at this point, getting a yes is one thing. Getting someone that comes and says, if I bring you advice on how to make your company better, how to strategically think about your banking and your balance sheet, and to do it the right way, is so much more important than yes is important. Don't get me wrong. That is important, but that is so much more valuable. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely. I think that having people in your corner that you need, it's so very important. People that know more than you on specific things. That's what entrepreneurs need more than anything. We need our group of people that we can go to and ask, how do I do this? And this is my long-term vision as an entrepreneur. How do I get there? Right. And if we have someone like you in our corner that can lead us there, that's even cooler. Right.
Yep. Yeah, well, and often we're talking about equipment finance or an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so does this make sense? Not only can we get you approved, but does buying it make sense? Should you move, even if we can do the loan and we get paid to do the loan, should you be doing it at all? Is a question we get quite often.
Yeah, love that. So I'm going to backtrack a tiny bit because we kind of breezed past it, and I know that everybody's sitting there thinking this and wondering this. What does it take to become the number one in the Aggie100?
I have no idea. Did not expect that.
Yeah. I mean, I think to be number one in the Aggie100, which is such an honor, and we're very excited about it. I think it takes the type of hyper growth, the trajectory that as an entrepreneur, you get this stage where you go from a 2-person shop in in a rented office space, one room, and you get to a point where you've got 20 employees and sales classes of 5 that are onboarding, and it becomes its own totally different beast of ramp that is hard, but is so rewarding at the same time.
So how are you guys organized as a leadership team to be able to handle that much growth?
Well, yeah, so I'm day-to-day CEO, and we've kind of divided the company into sales and operations. And so I've got a COO or head of operations, and then I've got a head of sales as well. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the 2 branches of the operations. And then we have our own fund, and we have a large balance sheet, and Danny, being a CPA, is kind of effectively our CFO and high-level strategist on our capital stack and our investors and that side of the business.
That's right. And LeasePoint's a part of a larger organization, related to a larger organization, because we both come out of the hedge fund world. Mm-hmm. And with that background, we've been able to expand into other asset classes, tax lien loans, debt settlement, and we're really always looking to what experience do we have at LeasePoint, and how can we apply it to a different industry? How can we be fast to market with our customer service in our tax lien business,
and offering solutions that traditional financiers would shy away from, and just be like, hey, we're not going to touch that. It doesn't matter. But you guys are seeing that value, that need in the market, and then providing that value.
Right. So, we are privately funded. It's not an FDIC insured bank. So we have flexibility, and we have speed because it's not as regulated. We do make the decisions. And we've developed technology as well for underwriting and documentation that it's faster and easier. And that's what people want in 2022. It's fast and easy.
Yeah, and I like Greg's idea of just asking Siri, "Hey, go find me some money," right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a very Jarvis-y, right, kind of a thing.
Well, they'll have probably overheard what you said. Do you need some money?
Yes, exactly. Right. So let me ask, what's been the tipping point that's gotten y'all so successful that you has there been anything that really has made that difference?
Well, I think towards COVID a little bit. We right before March of 2020, I think it was January 1st, we started our in-house fund, and we started buying and holding loans, which you could argue would have been the worst possible time to do so. But that really put the strategy to the test. And we had 6 months there that it was pretty tough. We had a lot of loans that were modified. We had a lot of people who were struggling. And so we paused payments. But coming out of that and seeing our borrowers recover and get back on track with very, very little loss. So we had no default during COVID. That was really reassuring to the strategy overall and the business. And so from there, we said, hey, this is working. If it survived COVID, let's double down. And that's where We increased our capital stack. We went to new investors. We started to really invest in developing our technology. We hired more people. And so that was in my mind, kind of the tipping point that said, hey, let's see what we can do.
Interesting. So cool.
So as you were doing that, and as you were investing in your technology, investing in your people, that gave you, no pun intended, the platform to be able to have that accelerated growth based on your previous hedge fund. I mean, fast growth from a traditional banker, fast growth to be like, oh no, there's such a thing as too much growth, but you guys are not afraid of that. And so how has that been quantifiable? I mean, would you kind of brag on yourself a little bit? How does that actually, how have you been able to help fund people?
Sure. So, I mean, to Danny's point, we started the first 2 or 3 years of this company. It was kind of a lifestyle business. It was 3 or 4 of us in a executive suite that wasn't much bigger than a walk-in closet. And
right next to a fantastic looking pool, because it used to be the reception center for a apartment leasing office. We started pretty humbly.
That's right. Well, and then with a name like LeasePoint, at a leasing office, we had people knocking on our door saying, "Hey, can you take my application to get an apartment here?" But not what we were doing. And what it's looked like to scale is, I mean, we're now at 20 full-time employees, and we still bootstrap. I mean, we still run lean. We're not investing tons of speculative investment and money into the whole program. We've kind of found a recipe where it works on a small level. So let's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, keep adding people, see what works, see what doesn't, instead of just all in and fail, because we're still lenders, we're still underwriters, and we still have risk aversion, but it seems to be bolt-on now. And we are in an industry where it's so big and we have such a small market share that the business is there to go and scale this. We just have to make sure we have the right people, the right procedures, and the right strategy to scale it.
So 2020, are you calling your shot now? 2023 number 1 Aggie100 winner?
Oh man,
I don't know.
I do think we'll double next year.
Well, so tell us, you were sharing with us a little bit about your success. So what did you guys fund last quarter? The entrepreneurs that you helped?
Sure. We did $35 million in loan origination last quarter.
In a quarter?
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And that was exciting. It was fun and not a dull moment the entire quarter, because we're used to funding $15 million a quarter with our team. And so,
well, and to be clear, these are not $5 million deals. They're not 3 $5 million deals. We do a lot of small ticket volume. So it's a lot of turning the crank, doing this over and over, and staying really, really busy as a team.
That's awesome. So you must have your sales and marketing really dialed in at this point then, if that's happening.
Well, to an extent, we do a really, really good job of getting our name into the marketplace, and Jeff can elaborate a little bit. But we also do a really good job, in my opinion, of finding vendor-driven sales programs and partnering with companies that have large sales staff, and really helping them have all the tools at their disposal to get every single deal that they have done. Funded.
Right. That's a good point. We are not always direct to borrower. And so we do go partner with, a Kubota dealership and say, hey, all of your clients who maybe don't get approved by the bank, or maybe just want a faster, easier process, would you refer clients to us? And so a lot of our marketing is to equipment and device manufacturers and distributors. And it's working.
Obviously, yeah, right. So let me ask, what's your big, hairy, audacious goal?
I'd like to achieve $200 million a year in originations by next year. And at that scale, we have some options with volume, and that is typically to feed a securitization if we start to balance sheet, or to sell to a bank or to a group that wants an equipment finance origination and servicing team. So that's kind of the goal.
Totally agree. I mean, it's going to be a busy year, continuing to prime the business, but volume, scale, growth, it's all there for us. I think the company is really built to take on any incremental volume in any incremental industry that is related to us, and we're ready for it.
That's awesome. Having the technology, having the people, having the processes, having the balance sheet, the connections, the marketing, all of that kind of, how you guys are wrangling all those cats to kind of pull them together for the success is what you do every day. But we are so excited to be able to see you and to celebrate with you. All right. So lightning round is super easy. One rule, you got a minute or less on each one of these. We'll give you each a minute since we've got multiple guests here. But what are y'all's favorite hacks? A business hack, a personal hack. What can we learn from you?
Well, I had to think about this one, honestly, because I've got lots of little tools and tricks that, in everyday in business, but big picture life and business hack is own your mistakes. I feel like that has been a big part of my success in relationships and business development, even outside of business, in relationships and friends and family. It's if you own it when you mess up, that kind of deflates the whole situation, and it's not a big deal anymore. You say, hey, here's what happened, here's how we fix it, and we move on. But especially in a leadership role, where there can be ego and pride, you don't let that get into your relationships and your strategy, and just own it when you mess up. And so that's been a big hack for me, in both in business and my personal life.
Danny, what about you?
For me, it's approaching every situation, and you're going to want to have an immediate response. You're going to want to have that immediate reply all email as a knee-jerk reaction. And so my favorite hack is to force myself to take time away, to step away, take a walk around the block, think through it, and either respond or don't, but take a more measured approach. And that's really saved me so much additional collateral damage and issues. It's made my response articulate. It's really been something that's ultimately improved relationships across all of my, interactions.
Love it. Take a time out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So next question. What is the favorite advice that you've ever been given? I'll start with you.
Somebody once told me there's only two ways to make money, and it's either do things that people don't want to do or do things that people can't do. And my first job out of college was cleaning out foreclosed homes at $20 an hour, which in 2012 was really great money, but it was a nasty job, and people didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to do that, but the money was good. And now what we do with LeasePoint are the things that people can't do or traditional lenders can't do. And that's, I've taken that advice and try to apply it and hopefully do things that people can't do instead of the things people don't want to do.
So for me, it's the 3 rules of cash. I love this. One of my bosses told me this a long time ago. So rule 1 is cash now is better than cash later. Rule 2 is more cash is better than less cash. And rule number 3 is don't run out of cash.
Brilliant.
And it really, it is the best thing. Most companies fail. Most startups fail because they run out of money, not because they have a bad business idea. And so over raising capital, keeping capital in reserve, it really is such a great, piece of advice.
The amount of flexibility that you have when you have cash will allow you to endure a COVID-19 or COVID-32 or whatever is coming. So that's great advice. What are y'all, Dan? I'm going to start with you. What's your superpower?
Man, this is hard because it feels like you're supposed to brag on yourself, and I don't like doing that. I guess if I had to say what my superpower is in business, it's sitting back and looking at the big picture and being able to see, here's the roadmap that we need to be on. Here's the 6 big steps that it's going to take to get there. And it's going to take us 3 years to do that. And being able to see that and apply that on a systematic basis over multiple year period to go from two-person company to 20-person company.
Jeff, what about you?
I'd have to say just getting stuff done, execution, and it's not always pretty, but
it gets done.
But it gets done. It gets done, and that happens. Whether it's taking the trash out at home or something at the office that it's tied up in red tape, or we've had 4 meetings on it. I'm going to get it done, and ideas are good and goals are good, forecasts and social media and hype and all that. But at the end of the day, you have to execute. And I feel like I'm pretty good at executing, and our football team could do that a little bit.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. But I love it. Love it. So next question, and we're going to start with you, Jeff. On this one is, what gets you out of bed and excited about LeasePoint?
Oh, every day is different. A different problem, a different innovation, some idea, a different client too, a different borrower. So you try to make systematic approaches to underwriting, and it just doesn't happen because every deal is different. And
everybody's different, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. That's what makes them successful. But being able to weave through that is exciting to do every single day.
It is, yeah. So it's not, never a dull moment.
How about you, Danny?
I mean, I think my answer is going to be similar to Jeff's in that I love being an entrepreneur and going to work at this business, because you never know what's going to happen. You have a schedule from 9 to noon, that's blocked out, and then something comes in and you're the business owner and this is more important. And so you've got to prioritize in your brain what is most important, what can wait, and approach it as they come in. And I think that's fun. I've built that way. And so it's enjoyable to have that in a day.
Well, gentlemen, again, thank you so much for joining us on Aggie Growth Hacks. Congratulations on your #1 Aggie100 in 2022. How can the Aggie Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? How can we support you? How can we encourage you?
Well, I think we just stay in touch here. We recruit heavily from Texas A&M. We have an internship program. We'd love to help other Aggie entrepreneurs who need capital or may want to do equipment finance. So there's probably some synergies and opportunities to do business with other entrepreneurs, and to the students here, we'd love to continue to hire Aggies.
So how can we get in touch with you?
So I think the best way would be, we have a website, LeasePointFG.com. And then we have we have a LinkedIn page that we can, you can look us up at. And then us personally, I'm on LinkedIn, Daniel Totah out of Austin, and Jeff's on LinkedIn as well.
We have an active social media presence. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, however you'd like to reach us, we'll respond.
Thank y'all so much for coming on Aggie Growth Hacks and sharing all of your wisdom and knowledge, really, and helping other entrepreneurs understand how to get to where you're at. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Well, how about that, Ags? Was that pretty cool or what? We got to interview
not only Aggie100 winners, but the Aggie100, the number one Aggie100 winners of 2022. That was pretty cool. I know that I had a ton of takeaways from that interview. What was your biggest takeaway there, Greg?
Well, first off, I mean, I can sympathize so much with what Jeff, Danny, and their team have built. I mean, they're a lender, and so that's something that's near and dear, obviously, to my heart. But really, to be able to see how they've grown and how they've grown a company in a very competitive but also regulated environment, and they were able to do that. In the reason that Danny and Jeff talked about was talking about technology, people, and procedures. So not only having the right person in the right seats, but equipping them with the right tools and providing for them the right path or the right procedures to be able to do that. And I think that more than anything else is what really I took away, especially to be able to see how they have grown so fast so far, and really to be able to take a very highly regulated industry and to succeed. And yes, good for them, good for their investors, good for all the employees that work for them. But really, and when you think about all that they've done to impact entrepreneurs, and then that ripple effect of goodness and impact by giving a doctor some new equipment, by allowing a farmer to have a new combine or a new piece of equipment or something to be able to grow their business to help them, which helps their customers, their families, their communities. So cool. But it was done by technology, people, and procedures. So what about you, Chris? What did you take away from it?
So I totally 100% agree with everything that you just said. The one thing that really stuck out to me with when Jeff was talking was about how his hack is to own up to your mistakes, and that is just so important in business, is that we all mess up. We're humans, and we all make mistakes, even big ones, small ones, whatever, right? But it takes a lot to own up to that mistake and just own it and say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Client. I completely botched this up, but I'm going to make it right. It's so important to do in business. I mean, I've been there so many times myself, and it never works out when you try to cover things up. So, and I've learned after the past 22 years in business that I have, just own up to your mistakes. So I love that. That's what stuck out to me the most.
But that's also so hard. I mean, you've got to be so vulnerable because the second and third order impacts of that. I mean, you may get yelled at. I mean, that's probably the best case scenario. Yeah. You just get yelled at and that's it. But I mean, there could have some real economic impacts for you and for your clients. But you'd be able to come in and just be like, look, I am upfront and honest. That's a great takeaway. And I can hear in your voice that that's a lesson that was pretty hard learned, but one that you learned and have implemented.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and then if you think about, the relationships in business that you build, it's all about those relationships. And the way that I run my business, the way that a lot of people run their businesses is coming in more of a partnership than a vendor. A vendor is probably going to bury that mistake, but a partner, a true partner, is going to say, hey, I completely messed up on this, or I forgot to do this, or, something happened along the way and we missed this. We're going to fix this, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. I think that's the most important thing that most business owners really want to hear, as we are in that partnership, we're in that relationship together, just like you are with your wife, so I just think that it is super, super important to be able to do that and to own up to your own mistakes. That's really cool that he talked about that.
Honesty is the best policy, right?
Yes, sir.
The Aggie Code of Honor, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Alex, that's going to do it for this episode of Aggie Growth Hacks. Again, thank you for joining us for this episode. Thank you for joining us for the previous 5 seasons. We cannot wait to share the exciting news, the exciting entrepreneurs, the exciting stories that we have for you coming up in this season. If you're not connected with Jeff or Danny, y'all reach out to them, connect with them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. These are ags that want to pour into you as entrepreneurs, both to help you with your business. But hey, if you also need to buy some equipment or something like that, check them out. When you're on the webs, check out Aggie Growth Hacks, aggiegrowthhacks.com. Connect with Chris and I and the show on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you roam the social media universe. And make sure you check out aggiegrowthhacks.com, where you can listen to this episode, the previous 5 seasons, and some of our other great content.
So, by the way, I can't believe we're at season 6. This just is surreal as we look back on the past 5 seasons. So, Thank you all so much. We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. Since 1999, the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship has served as the hub of entrepreneurship at Texas A&M. If you're an Aggie entrepreneur or even a wantrepreneur, head on over to their website now to find a program that's right for you. Just go to aggiegrowthhacks.com/McFerrin right now. Well, Ags, join us next time when we connect with another great Aggie entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter.
And I'm Greg Martin. Thanks and gig 'em.